Thanks for your company. The details now. Government is key among many other employers who are defaulting in the payment of their workers' SSNIT contribution. A situation workers fear could cripple the operations of the state insurer. And addressing hundreds at the May-Day parade, TUC Secretary General Dr. Anthony Alba expressed concern about the inconsistent manner government is paying workers' contribution to the SSNIT scheme. Let's hear him.
Mr. President, before I shift to another issue, let me mention one factor which is hindering progress in our pension system, and that has to do with the huge government indebtedness to SSNIT and the second-tier occupational pension schemes. We are aware that government transferred over $3 billion to public sector second-tier schemes in 2018, but that was a small step in the right direction. The truth is that government still owes SSNIT and second-tier schemes millions, if not billions, of Ghana cedis. We cannot expect our pension schemes to perform effectively and efficiently if government, which is the single largest employer with over 600,000 workers on its payroll, fails to pay social security contributions. If there is any factor that can lead to the collapse of our pension schemes, it is the persistent non-payment of social security contributions by government. Mr. President, once again, we are appealing to you to change this situation.
Well, in a quick reaction at the same event, President Akufo-Addo assured workers government will pay some 900 million arrears it owes the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SSNIT. The remaining amount will be settled next year, he says.
I'm informed that the Ministry of Finance has arranged for payment of 200 million cedis and the bond of 700 million cedis towards the retirement of the arrears owed to SSNIT. This will leave arrears of 800 million cedis, which will be included in next year's budget.
Well, let's get an update on the status of retrieval of monies from defaulting state institutions from SSNIT. A couple of years ago, it began a distress action. It began a plan to prosecute companies that failed to pay their workers' contributions. I'm joined on the phone by Head of Public Affairs at SSNIT, Ifua Mankwasa, for more on this. Good morning, Madam, and thank you for joining the show.
Good morning, Bernice, and thank you for having me.
All right, great. So give us an update on your status. We remember that you started a certain program to get defaulting state institutions pay their workers' SSNIT contributions. How far with that?
Okay, so Bernice, just to maybe not correct an impression. So we do not just deal with state institutions. These actions that we take are across the board. It is for both private and public. As you are aware, we have a responsibility as SSNIT under the law to pay pensions. And this is irrespective of whether employers owe us or not. And so I think for us, how we deliver on that responsibility is to make sure that employers are paying, and then they're also paying on the correct salaries. And so you're right, we have been doing mass inspections and mass prosecutions, which have been aimed at ensuring that employers pay up. And these exercises have been going on for some time.
Okay. I'm just curious. I'm sure a lot of people will be wondering, did it need to take workers at a May Day celebration to demand for the payment of their contributions from government? What has SSNIT been doing about that?
Oh, it didn't have to take that. And as you may have gathered from the speeches from both, I think, the President and the General Secretary for TUC, SSNIT has been engaging government on these arrears. I could even say almost on a daily or weekly basis, there is engagement. I think that government is quite aware of its responsibility to pay the SSNIT contributions on behalf of their workers. And I have to say that in any case, we say that the scheme is underwritten by government. And so government is in no way trying to shirk its responsibility. I think what has happened is a matter of timing. these monies have not been paid on the correct times that we would ideally prefer it to be paid. And so that is what has happened. But like I said, we have engaged, and we're very happy with the President's assurance that these monies will be paid in the next coming days. And so we are very happy. But engagement has been ongoing, and SSNIT has not relented on its responsibility at all.
Well, some will say, that 900 million cedis is a lot of money, and they may argue that you're being too lenient with government. What would you say to that?
Bernice, we're not being lenient. As I said, and when I say there has been engagement, you know, I'm choosing my words carefully. I mean, engagement as in we have made our points clear that these monies have to be paid. And as I said, I think that government is aware of this responsibility, and part of that engagement, or a result of that engagement, is I think what we are seeing with the President committing to paying the 900 million and saying that the rest will be paid in 2020. And so, Bernice, we have not relented at all. We're not being lenient with government at all, but we also are also cognizant of government's many responsibilities. And so sometimes you have to, that's part of the engagement process. You negotiate and come to an arrangement. And part, like I said, a result of that arrangement is what we are seeing.
We know that government is the largest employer in the country, but would private companies receive such leniency? Do you have any plan patterns for them to also settle debts? Because many have tried to link your relationship as SSNIT, being a state institution, and government to your inability to really bite when you have to.
As I said, Bernice, the scheme, as you know, is underwritten by government. And so I think government itself knows the enormity of its responsibility. I don't think that's lost on government or on SSNIT at all. With reference to private institutions, we do prosecute, you're right, but that, as we say, is a measure of last resort, the very, very last resort. Our position or our preference as SSNIT is for employers to pay voluntarily, as stated in the law. And it is not in our interest or the employer's interest to take anybody to court. As you will be aware, this process takes time and it takes money. And so our preference would be for people to pay voluntarily. And so people pay they're supposed to pay by the 14th of the ensuing month. When this does not happen, SSNIT does not immediately take any employer to court. What we would then do is first engage. This could be via a phone call, a text message, a visit from a compliance officer from SSNIT, trying to find out why payment has not been made. Now, after we have done this engagement over time, if the payment still does not happen, we still do not take you to court. We will issue you demand notices reminding you formally that you have a responsibility to SSNIT and to your employees. And so we would engage until the very last resort, when we do not have any other options but to go to court. Because and when we say you should come see us, we want you to come negotiate terms with us, because employers go through cash flow issues sometimes, and we are aware of this. And so we ask you to come to our offices so that we can negotiate a term of payment for you so that you can settle your responsibilities. The court, we resort to the court when we do not have any other choice, because as I said, the law says that we should collect and then we should pay pensions. And so we do not have a choice when we have to go to court.
I understand there's about a 3% surcharge for private companies or employers within the private sector who fail to pay the SSNIT contributions of their workers. Does this 3% surcharge apply to government?
Bernice, as I said in my initial comment, there is currently a lot of ongoing engagement with government. And I have to say that this is part of that discussion with the government, that if these monies are not paid to us at the time they're supposed to be paid to us, then you're right, the penalties or the surcharges should apply. But you also know that sometimes we have situations under which we can grant a penalty waiver. But as I said, there's a whole lot of engagement going on with government, and I'm sure that by the time these engagements are done, we would have a clear path as to how we apply the penalty situation. But I said there are situations that we can also, the law allows us to grant a waiver.
Are you challenged with an issue of conflict of interest? I know, for example, your board chair is appointed by the president, and other, leading personalities within the SSNIT are also appointed. Is there something of the sort?
Well, I don't think it's a matter of conflict of interest, Bernard, because you see, I think that once the president appoints a board chairman and a director general, I think that the appointment is made, and then with the assumption that these gentlemen or ladies, as they may be, would go on and do a good job. And so I think that the president appoints these people with a full knowledge that they can be independent-minded and do the job that they've been appointed so to do. And so I don't think it's a matter of conflict of interest. As I said, I may not be able to disclose the full extent of these engagements and negotiations with government, but I can assure you that we've been, very forthright and upfront with government about its responsibilities and how these monies ought to be paid and on time. And like I said, part of that is what we have seen the president announce. And I think that going forward, this matter would be fully resolved.
Before you go, there's an issue that the workers complained about prior to the May Day celebration, and it had to do with the calculations of their deductions or contributions. Has that come to your notice, and would you like to tell them anything with regards to that?
Bernard, yes, you're right. Labour has brought or has raised a number of concerns about not just the calculation of pensions, but some other issues. And as we have said in the past, the recent past, that these matters we have been engaging Labour on for more than a year. This has been ongoing engagement together with ourselves, Labour, and the MPRA, who is our regulator. And several of these matters have been resolved. The outstanding ones, I think, are the ones the president referred to when he said that we should clear all these outstanding issues in the next 3 months. And so I think that the engagement has been largely positive. We have both made our case to MPRA, and like I said, largely, a lot of these issues have been resolved. But I do have to say that the calculations we make are based on the law. And we believe that we are applying the law as has been stated. Whether the law is satisfactory or not is another conversation we can have. But currently at SSNIT, what we have been doing in the past several years in paying pensions is just strictly stated in the law, and we do not think that we have gone contrary to what the law tells us to do.
Okay. What about the use of technology, monthly updates? They're calling for that, so at least they can follow, they can track. Is there anything like that for them?
So currently, as we speak now, you can ask for a portal ID. The portal ID allows you to go online and check your statements on the regular. You do not need to wait for SSNIT to come to you with a statement. Of course, you're also entitled as a member to walk into any of our offices and ask for a statement. But if you don't want to do that, you can go online to our website once you have the portal ID, and then you can check. You can also even send us a request through Facebook, and we're very happy to assist you. Once you just log on to SSNIT Ghana and you send us a request, very happy to assist. And several of our customers have taken advantage of this. Going forward, I know that our members have asked for things like a SSNIT app to make even the check-in even easier.
Exactly.
And these are things, yes, these are things that management is seriously considering. And hopefully by the end of this year, we should see some improvements on the technology field. But we are totally in sync with our customers when we say there should be better ease to our service, and people should be able to check their statements on the regular. But I'd like to encourage all workers, now that I have the chance to, at least for now, ask for a portal ID, go online, please check your statements. And we say that we don't want people to wait until they are 50 or 55 until they take an interest in their SSNIT contributions and their statements. At that time, it might be a bit too late to resolve some of those issues, especially if they have to do with your salary. So we would encourage people that just as we check our monthly salary, we should also check our monthly SSNIT contributions.
So how do you get this portal ID you talk about?
So as I said, you can just go on to Facebook right now. Our handle is SSNIT Ghana, and then just send us a request that you want this portal ID, and we will create it for you. You can also do it through our contact center, and then you can also call 0302 611 622. And if you do that right now, when you get off screen, please do it. We'll be happy to create for you a portal ID, and then you can do a monthly tracking of your this contribution.
0302611622, you said. I'm sure a lot of workers watching us will try reaching you right now to get their portal IDs. Thank you very much. We'll leave it here. Ifua Sarkodie, Head of Corporate Affairs at SSNIT, giving us some reactions to what we heard from the TUC boss at the May Day celebration yesterday and the President's response to issues of debt owed the pension scheme.